Mike, check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and there are two things that every wise collector understands. There's two things that I'm sure that anyone who collects video games is fully well aware of. And whether they want to admit these things to themselves or not, they do understand these things. And the first thing is that no one really cares about your collection the way you do. What do I mean when I say that? I'm saying that you can show your collection off to a million people. And at the end of the day, you'll get that certain group of people who will be in awe and amazed at how many games you have in your collection or the types of games that you have in your collection. And they may compliment you, they may point out games that they want to add to their collection from what they've seen in your collection. And you may get a mix of reactions, right? You may also get some hate. You may get some people who call you a hoarder and say that you don't need to have that many games and that, you're ruining it for everyone else. You're going to get a number of different reactions from people when you show them your collection. But at the end of the day, no one really cares. They might care in the moment, but no one's going to bed thinking, oh man, I'm so glad I got to see Y2K's collection today. Like no one's doing that. And if you've been collecting for long enough, you know that to be the case. Now again, you can show people your collection, you can showcase certain games, you can point out certain things about certain games that you may want the general public to know because they might be things that someone else might appreciate, whether it's the art style of a game or the gameplay of a game or who the developer was or the fact that maybe a certain game was only released in Japan. Whatever it is that you're trying to showcase, there will be someone who will be able to appreciate and glean from the information that you're sharing. But at the end of the day, people don't really care. They're not vested. They don't have any kind of vested interest in your collection beyond viewing it for entertainment purposes. So for anyone who's going out there and buying video games thinking that someone's really going to care about what you have in your collection or that people are really going to, I don't know, think about what you have on your shelf all day, you're disillusioned. That's not reality. The reality is that people will care for the few seconds or minutes that they're able to see it, and then out of sight, out of mind. So I think that's the first thing that most wise collectors understand about collecting. I think the second thing that most wise collectors understand when it comes to building a video game collection is they understand that they're in competition with no one. They're competing with no one. As a matter of fact, if they are in competition with anyone, they're in competition with their own list of games that they've set out to add and collect, or games that they've been looking to build and put into their collection. They're not competing with anyone because I'm convinced that the enemy of joy is comparison. When you sit back and you start to look at what someone else has in their collection, when you look back and you sit and see what someone else has on their shelf, the second you start to play the comparison game is the minute you are no longer enjoying what it is you have on your collection. And every wise collector knows this. They know that regardless of how many games or how little games are sitting on their shelf, as long as it's the games that bring them the most joy, right? It doesn't matter what anyone else has on their shelves. It doesn't matter what anyone else has in their collections because that person has to play their games and you have to play your games. And as long as you are comfortable and happy, as long as you can close your eyes and no matter what you put your finger on, it's a game that you'll want to play. And I literally closed my eyes and just threw my finger on a game. But as long as you're able to close your eyes, put your finger out, and no matter what game it lands on, you will be happy to play that game, then you know that you've effectively curated a collection that's tailor-made to your tastes, to your likes, to what you enjoy, and it's not really built on what anyone else thinks and how anyone else feels. And I think these two thought processes, right? Remembering that no one really cares about your collection and knowing that no, you're not competing with anyone in terms of what your collection looks like. I think keeping these two things in mind as you build and grow your video game collection, I think is going to help to make the hobby a lot more fun. It's going to take a lot of pressure off, and it's going to put you in a mental space where you just don't care anymore. You don't care about what's going on. You don't care about who's watching or what anyone else has to say, because it's all about you. I've seen a lot of folks here, even on YouTube, who, in my opinion, have had really great collections. I've seen a lot of folks get discouraged. I've seen a lot of folks, completely bow out of video game collecting altogether because they felt like their collections didn't measure up. They felt like they couldn't compete with someone else's collection, or they felt like they didn't have the types of games in their collection that would garner a lot of views, or that would garner the type of response or reaction that they were hoping to get here on YouTube. Let me be the first to say something. The majority of the views that people get on YouTube are generated by the algorithm. They're generated by the algorithm, right? I've seen so many content creators make amazing videos that I know they spent hours editing, great detail, great story, great pacing, but because they're just not in the algorithm, the video goes nowhere. And so you getting views on YouTube has less to do with your video game collection and more to do with what you're doing, is what you're saying. Are your videos falling in line with the algorithm to where YouTube can push that video? So I don't want people who collect, and especially collect and put their stuff on YouTube, to think that, oh man, I collected all this stuff and I'm not getting any more videos, or I'm not getting any views on YouTube. I need to go collect more stuff. No, that's not what that means. That means you need to figure out YouTube, not collect more video games. As a matter of fact, I think YouTube actually recently changed their algorithm to where I think, low effort content like this, right? With me just pointing the camera at the shelves, low effort content isn't gonna really be in lockstep with the algorithm. YouTube is looking for other things. And, I've always been the type of content creator that whether my video gets 20 views or 20,000 views makes no difference to me, man, because the goal here isn't to become a YouTube star overnight. Is it cool to have a great YouTube following? For sure. Does it feel good to have a lot of people watch your videos? For sure. But when it comes to building a collection and even, displaying that collection on YouTube, it's really not about that. The joy should come from either in hunting these games, adding them back, and having the physical collections in your possession. It should be playing the video games, taking time out to pop one of these suckers into their original console and play them and enjoy them. And it really should be about you, what it does for you when you're in your game room, when no one's watching, when the lights are dim, and it's just you, the controller, the TV screen, and whatever adventure you're jumping off into. So hopefully for anyone who's either collecting now, or you've been video game collecting for quite some time, or maybe you're just getting into collecting here in 2025, keep those two things in mind. One, no one cares about your video game collection, especially not the way you do. And two, you are in competition with no one but yourself. And hopefully remembering these two things will take the pressure off and help you to enjoy the hobby that much more. That does it for me. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.